Welcome into No Punt Intended, presented by Club Fantasy. I am your host, Joe Zollo. Week 4 officially done. Can we just officially call it a quarter of the way through the season? Because this whole 17 games is really fucking with all of us. So we're a quarter of the way through the season. Happy face, sad face at the exact same time. A lot of surprises, I feel, in Week 4, both good and bad surprises. We're here to talk about all that, as well as preview into Week 5. Of course, if you have any questions, anything like that, always drop them. We always want to hear from you guys and girls. Let's get it started. Welcome into No Punt Intended, presented by Club Fantasy. I am your host, Joe Zollo. Joining me, as always, Joshua Hudson and Ryan Weisse. Guys, how was Week 4 for the two of you?
It was better in my actual leagues, not as well with my confidence plays, which was strange. But hey, crazy things happen. I guess.
Take wins and losses where we can get them.
My picks were solid, but in one league close to all of our hearts, it was not a great week for me. So
it was a bad week. For those that don't know, my team is the living epitome of the Detroit Lions in our dynasty league, and Ryan has sold off every asset imaginable to just build a super team. So he is taking the Los Angeles Rams approach to things, where he doesn't like draft picks. That's taking the Rams approach.
There is no salary.
Working for him.
Yeah.
I mean, hey, he won last year, but we know what's most important. He didn't win in Week 4.
No, he did not.
He did not win in Week 4. He got spanked in Week 4.
I say it wasn't even close.
Yeah,
it wasn't even close.
I think it was a 40-point win. Yeah, it was not pretty for Ryan. I beat him. I was very happy. As long as I beat one person on this show every year.
35-point win.
35, still a beat down.
Felt like 40.
Yeah, normally before Ryan had joined on the show, I had beaten Josh at least once a year in that league. So,
and I beat you the week before by a lot.
Josh, that's literally like saying you punched a toddler in the face. Like everyone can do that. Everyone can do that.
Well, I needed that bounce back. I think that was my first win in that league. That year.
You know what? I'm happy I can be a lot of people's rebounds. That's what I'm here for. I'm just happy I can be people's rebounds. Okay.
There's a lot of action there.
Yeah. Real quick, my brother's saying fresh shirt. Thank you, G.
No lies detected.
Yeah, Ryan had said the same thing actually when I had entered. So this is the shirt that I came home from work, and I had 30 minutes to look at the show doc and do anything. So I really didn't change. So here we are. But some news and notes before we jump into everything. Rob Gronkowski missed the game Sunday night against the Patriots. He actually has several broken ribs and a punctured lung. So not good.
No.
Jimmy Garoppolo dealing with a calf injury. Shanahan says the injury isn't as bad as they initially believed, and he could start Sunday, so we'll see what happens with the Trey Lance situation. Will Fuller is on IR for what feels like the 25th time in his career. Mm-hmm. Broken finger, out at least 3 weeks.
Taxes, Will Fuller on IR.
Will Fuller on IR.
Things in life you can always count on.
Yep. David Montgomery suffered a knee injury, likely to miss time. They originally thought it was an ACL injury. It is not an ACL injury, which is huge. So he may not be back for the next few weeks, but he'll probably be back, in time for a playoff push for you.
I think they said 4 to 5 weeks.
Yeah.
Which came out after I typed this out. So.
Damian Williams also has a thigh bruise. He's expected to play, for the record. I'm not sure. I know there's like some dude way low on the roster.
Khalil Herbert.
Yeah, Khalil Herbert. You may see projected for like 8 points this week. He would be the guy to back up Damian Williams. So if you are really in need of a running back, Khalil Herbert might be the guy for you. Teddy Bridgewater suffered a concussion on Sunday, and Locke finished the game, proving once and for all that Drew Lock was definitely not the better option in that Denver quarterback room.
He came in with no practice time. He wasn't going to look good.
He came in with no practice time, and he'd been in the offense for 2.5 years. My bad.
No, not 2.5 years. Shermer's only been there for a year plus.
Okay, so he's been in the offense for
and was
a
injured
year
half of last year.
in 4 weeks, and he knew the offense, and Teddy Bridgewater's been a part of it for 3 months. So status for week 5 anyways, uncertain for Teddy Two Gloves. Jair Alexander, AC joint sprain. The Cowboys finally released Jalen Smith.
Yeah, put him on the street.
Still owe him $7 million. So
Yes,
congratulations,
That's just
Jalen
for this
Smith.
year.
Yeah,
It apparently
congratulations.
frees up $5 million next year or something like that. So
Congratulations, Jalen Smith, on playing Jerry Jones like a fiddle, because you will be sitting on your couch making $7.2 million this year. The Patriots, they released Stephon Gilmore, and then they traded him. So I guess, a trade is better than nothing, but they got the next Tom Brady, 2023 6th-round pick. They got the next Tom Brady for the 6th round of next year. No, 2 years draft.
exactly.
Excuse me.
Just wait.
But the Carolina basically fills a hole that they need right now. They are now going to have J.C. Horn, C.J. Henderson, Dionte Jackson, and Stephon Gilmore when they're all healthy. It's pretty good secondary.
Too.
Oh, I didn't even know that. Great secondary.
Yeah.
The Raiders, Peyton Barber diagnosed with mild turf toe. That's huge considering he's Jesus now. So I feel like that's a big injury. Logan Thomas on IR with a hamstring. They signed Jace Sternberger, who was released by Green Bay in the preseason. Third-year guy, I think, out of Texas A&M.
Yeah. Might as well be a rookie with the play he got in Green Bay.
Yeah.
Literally.
Didn't get much run at all.
All right, one question here from our favorite Zollo. Wilson or Darnald, Sam Darnold or Russell Wilson? That's a good question. Who are the Panthers playing? They're at home, I believe.
Philly.
Correct? At home against Philly, in Philly?
At home.
At home. Okay.
Yeah, they're in Carolina.
I mean, if Sam Darnold is the next Michael Vick, I'd start Sam Darnold. Right?
There's also reports that McCaffrey could end up playing this game,
Yeah.
which ultimately is going to make Darnold's job so much easier.
Yeah.
Of course, Wilson plays Thursday, so you have to make this decision.
So you got to make that
quickly.
decision today.
But one thing that I was looking at when we were going for our Thrive props, Russell Wilson has thrown for over 269 passing yards once against the Rams since 2015, and that happened when the Rams were still in St. Louis.
So they hadn't got the Hollywood effect yet.
No.
Which the Hollywood effect really hasn't done much to them outside of this year. But I would go Darnold in the situation.
Yeah,
I mean, he's
would
literally guaranteeing you a rushing touchdown every game.
Say it's very close. I would lean Darnold as well.
Yep. From Max Coble, D-Hop and Jonathan Taylor for Nick Chubb, Mike Williams, and Antonio Brown. It's a full PPR. Which side do you prefer? I personally prefer the D-Hop and Jonathan Taylor side. Gentlemen, do you disagree?
I do not.
Josh?
That's close, but I think I'm going to lean Jonathan Taylor on this one.
He finally... It's weird. When you give good running backs the football, it's almost like they produce. And, we're probably the worst run defense in the NFL, if not bottom 3 in Miami.
Such a weird game for Naheem Hines to get frozen out like that, though.
Yeah, that was really weird.
Yeah.
I wasn't expecting that at all.
But if they give Jonathan Taylor the football, he will pound most defenses in the NFL.
Oh, for sure.
My biggest thing with this is I don't think that Mike Williams is a fluke. I really don't.
No.
Antonio Brown's going to have his good weeks and bad weeks. Nick Chubb is literally one touchdown away from outscoring Kareem Hunt this year. And I don't think we're doubting Nick Chubb if he gets that one touchdown, especially last week from the one which Kareem Hunt ran in instead of Nick Chubb.
Yeah.
So this is a different conversation at that point.
Yep.
DeAndre Hopkins isn't getting the targets that we all expected him to get. I don't know what is going on.
He was early, and then the injury a few weeks ago, and it slowed down over 2 weeks. Early on, he was 8, I think, in each of the first 2 games or something close to that. It was the last 2 games that have drug him back down to earth. So I think you're just kind of waiting for him to get back to 100%, and I think he gets the target volume again.
All I know is I have a bone to pick with that Cleveland-Minnesota game.
That was such an ugly game.
No, it's not even that. In Thrive, I had Nick Chubb over a half a rushing touchdown. Who takes his rushing touchdown? Kareem Hunt. I had Kirk Cousins to throw under half an interception for 125 points. The Hail Mary
at the end of the game
was the interception. I'm like,
Yep.
Are you kidding me? Like the bullshit, the biggest bullshit interception on a quarterback stat line cost me 125 points in Thrive. That hurt. Vikings and Browns. That was tough. But let's dive into the ups and downs here. I know G's going to stick around for the whole thing, so we'll get to his question in a little bit. But let's go to the 3 ups here. There's a lot of names I don't think I've seen on here almost ever, so I think this is interesting. Juwan Johnson is Josh's first up.
Yeah,
Called him last week.
Yeah, Adam Troutman ain't it. Johnson's a streamer you want when the Saints have a good tight end matchup. I mean, nothing on Adam Troutman. Juwan Johnson is a receiver who's just too big to play receiver. His athleticism is ridiculous. So, he played great. Dionte Johnson, you said you're putting yourself in the doghouse for doubting him this past week against
He was on my
Alexander.
fade list last week.
I benched him in a few leagues. Actually, I think only 2 leagues I have him.
That's
Yeah,
how
I mean-
50-50. I started him in half and benched him in half. So.
I think what this shows you is when Dionte Johnson's in the lineup, Najee Harris's receiving upside is almost non-existent compared to what it was without him in the lineup.
Yeah, everybody freaked out on that 13 target game or whatever it was, but that was
And-
never going to be the norm.
Yeah,
So.
and guess who wasn't in the lineup that game?
Yep.
Jeremy McNichols as well.
McNasty.
You say who? Derrick Henry's backup. He's
I actually scooped him up in a lot of leagues.
I picked him
before
up.
this
I did
past
this
week.
2 or 3 weeks ago. He's my when I get right to game time and I want to just get a backup running back to just in case, it's him every single week. So
I mean, we know Derrick Henry can catch.
He's on a torrid receiving pace this year, which I did not see.
they're throwing to the running
Henry?
backs quite a bit.
Yeah.
They have to at this point because they don't have any receivers right now.
Yeah. McNichols is kind of he looks like he should just be an in between the tackles running back, but he has great hands. So he's not like a James White.
He was definitely one of those late blooming running backs. Like he was drafted out of Boise State, flamed out with Tampa, kind of bounced around a few places.
He was in
still found a niche here.
Places. There was this there was a big thing. I don't remember who he started with, but there was this big thing that they wanted to put him on their practice squad, and he was so mad at them. He signed with another team's practice squad. Like he's almost LeGarrette Blount in a way.
So just so everyone knows, we see these questions coming in. We're going to get to them. Don't worry. Stick around. Ryan, your 3 ups are Cordero. I told you to draft him. Fucking Kira told you to play him. Patterson. Thank you to every site that has dual eligibility.
Perfect.
I mean,
that was fantastic.
I put up 268 points in 4-eyed and almost lost because I didn't start Cordero Patterson.
Yep.
I mean, he's playing the Jets this week, so beware. The Jets are very good against running backs.
They're not.
They're
They're
really
actually
good
good
against
against
wide
wide
Good
receivers.
against receivers. Sorry, that's what I meant to say. So beware. Cordero Patterson may not have 3 touchdowns receiving, just 3.
It might be 3 rushing touchdowns.
Yeah, 3 on the ground. And that game is in London as well,
Yes.
for those that don't know.
9:30 in the morning.
All bets are
9:30
off.
kickoff. Yep. Myself, I got DJ Moore. Again, I said this in our Carolina preview. I was very confused why everyone was so low on him going into the season. Very
Robbie
confused.
Just the Robbie Anderson usage from last year.
Yeah, and then I got caught up in Terrace Marshall hype as well. That was a mistake. So
DJ Moore is God.
he's a one. There's no
so
denying
good.
it.
Yeah,
he is
a
so
one.
good. And then to see them start using him in a CMC-esque role with CMC out, pants had to be changed after that. It was fun. So.
And here's the thing: is like a lot of people, and Steve Smith even said this when DJ Moore was drafted. They haven't had a receiver. They haven't had a true number 1 receiver until now. Is what he said when they drafted DJ Moore, and everyone was like, "All right, pump the brakes, guy. Like, let's slow down." He does not have the explosiveness as Steve Smith, but he's pretty much as productive as Steve Smith
he's
right
great.
now. Yeah, he's been fantastic. The Bears defense, because fuck everyone on our Start Shit Different Day show that said don't start the Bears defense. Bear down Chicago Bears, top 5 defense this week. I have James Prochet in my 3-ups. You want to know why? Because he was a top 35 receiver. He was tied for first in receptions, second in receiving yards, second longest play, second in yards per catch, and tied for third on the team in targets.
Turns out they never even needed Rashad Bateman.
Didn't need Rashad Bateman. Didn't need Devin Duvernay. Don't need Sammy Watkins. Sign him up. And I put honorable mention AJ Green because, again, screw everyone that didn't believe in AJ Green. He found the end zone again. I think he had 16 or 19 points. It was like 5 for 60-something and a touchdown. Let's go. You love to see it. Okay, 3 downs. Josh,
I think we should jump to questions. They're piling up.
Fine. Jeez. Waddle, Odell, Van Jefferson, Cole Beasley, Kenny G, pick 2 in a PPR. I will start and go with Jalen Waddle, and if neither Darius Slayton nor Shepard play again, I would go with Galladay. If not, which again you have to kind of make this decision now.
I was going to say the same thing, word for word.
I would roll with. I have no problem rolling with Van Jefferson. No issue whatsoever. So if you want to roll the dice and see if Shep or Slayton doesn't play on Sunday, then go with Galladay. But if not, I'm totally fine with Waddle and Jefferson. Ryan agrees, so we don't even need to go to him. Josh.
Yep. Waddle is the definite for me. I think even if Slayton or Shepard play, I'm going to lean Galladay.
Okay. And yeah, I mean, we saw what the PPR monster of Jacoby Myers did last week. In all reality, Jalen Waddle should have 27 receptions. In all reality. Carrington says R.I.P. Monty.
Man, that hurts.
Yeah, it was rough.
That really does hurt my Scott Fishbowl team.
Yeah,
it hurts.
And it was already hurting.
So. I'd say it hurts 3/4 of my team.
Yeah, hurts a lot of people. Okay. Jamez's 45. Would you trade Joe Mixon, Chris Godwin, and Damian Williams for Christian McCaffrey?
Yes.
I would.
Yeah.
I would not even think twice about it.
Yeah, I mean, it sucks giving Godwin up here as well. I hope your receivers are strong, but McCaffrey's still a cheat code. You make that trade.
100%. Yep, you go get Christian McCaffrey. Joey, he needs 2 receivers this week. He's got Tyler Boyd, Marvin Jones, Bobby Trees, Cortland Sutton, and Visca. So he's got 2 Jags, a Bengal, a Ram, and a Bronco. All animals. All guys that are kind of I'm not wrong in my sentence.
Not even a little bit.
I would probably go Tyler Boyd and Laviska Shenault. It hurts.
If I knew for a fact that Higgins was out this week, I would love Boyd a lot more. I like the Jags receivers, but I like one of them. It's just choosing which one because it was Visca last week. I like Marvin Jones for a bounce back. Obviously, Woods has a nice matchup. It's rough. If it's my team, I'm probably going Boyd and Sutton for proven production.
Josh?
I'm actually writing about Boyd and Shenault this week in my confidence plays. I like Boyd a lot, even if Higgins plays without Mixon, they're going to be dumping it off. Like that's what they were doing all week last week. Shenault was very involved, obviously, without DJ Chark. He's going to get a lot of run. The Steelers secondary has been surprisingly weak. So I think that's a benefit to Sutton. But there just seems like that offense just seems to be broken right now. Yeah. And I don't know how Locke is going to prepare for this game, whether Bridgewater is going to play. Sutton had the one big week. We all thought he would, or at least I thought he would have a good game against the Jets. But again, it's just that's just who you run against, and that's what they did. So we haven't seen like that other really big game. So I think for me, I'm just going to stick with Boyd and Shenault here. I really do not trust Woods. I don't care what Sean McVay is saying right now.
What you've gone from this conversation is Tyler Boyd. That's your definite guarantee. And Big Chungus 700, great name. I believe this person and Anasty Quali are the exact same person because it's literally word for word the same question. Give up Najee Harris and Brandon Ayuk for Antonio Gibson and Keenan Allen. I think we can all 1, 2, 3. Yes.
I'm assuming this is a redraft question. Like
I mean,
I don't
even if
understand.
it's not, I think I
because
still
if
think
it's
they should.
not, it might
Even
be
in-
a little different. But
even in a dynasty, I think
Yeah,
I
I
would
still like
still
Gibby.
take. Yeah, like I'd be okay.
I mean, I
with
still
both.
I love both of them, but I still much rather have Ayuk in Dynasty.
Sure,
but-
that's fair.
And that's,
No,
you
but
know,
yeah, I
redraft 1000%. Go get Gibson and Allen.
said yes, redraft. So yes, 100% Antonio Gibson, Keenan Allen. Kata, a new friend. Thoughts on CEH? Scared he made a bad trade. He sent Robert Woods and Miles Sanders for Renfro and Clyde Edwards-Helaire. None of those guys would start on his team, but wanted to get a deeper bench. He says in his defense, Bobby Trees and Miles Sanders aren't being used in their schemes, and Renfro's been pretty good this year. I mean, before any of these two,
You're talking to the biggest Hunter Renfro fan.
What's
right
up, dude?
there.
What's up? What's up? You mean the greatest wide receiver / safety combination in the NFL?
Right? That was
He-
a sick play on
he
special teams.
Popped that dude. Popped him. All right. So yeah. So here's how I look at it. Josh has it in his downs. Nick Sirianni hates Miles Sanders. It's that simple. We don't know why, because Miles Sanders is clearly productive in that offense.
Yep.
If he didn't use him against Kansas City, he's not going to use him against any other team.
Nope.
Because Kansas City is one of the worst defenses in the NFL
Yeah.
all around. Robert Woods, not being used right now, right? CEH, as much as I hate him, he's kind of been productive.
I say very much being used.
Yes, being used as well. And what was Hunter Renfro? Hunter Renfro, I think, is averaging 7 to 8 targets a game.
Yeah,
and he found the end zone. I think he's found the end zone twice this year.
Twice this season.
He's the best receiver on that roster.
And I'm projecting a third this week.
He's the best receiver on that roster, bar
Without a
none.
doubt.
Bar none, he's the best receiver on that roster.
I love this trade. I think you win the
Yes,
trade.
you won the trade. 100% you won the trade. So yeah, do not worry about that.
Yeah, everybody gets tied up in names and name value. Like,
Yep.
I don't think like CEH and Sanders, to me, that's kind of a wash at this point.
Yeah.
But I would still lean slightly CEH in redraft. But
That's-
everybody's going to get caught up in the, Robert Woods and what he's done the last couple of years. Right now, he's not
Renfro
doing
over
anything,
Woods.
and Hunter Renfro's producing.
And
Don't
at some
fall for the
point,
name value.
At some point, Robert Woods is going to have a single game
absolutely.
that is going to make you regret this trade. Don't freak out. You weren't starting him that week anyway. Remember, you already said none of them would start for you. You've done what you needed to do on the right depth.
And
The last couple of years, how everybody's felt about Cole Beasley, that's basically
Renfro.
Hunter Renfro.
Yep.
He's somebody that can be a top 36 wide receiver that you're just like, who the hell is this? Why is he here amongst all these people?
Yep.
That's what you're looking at with Hunter Renfro this year.
because he's that freaking good.
No, absolutely.
Love Hunter Renfro. Yeah, and I feel like you can get caught in the names in the first few weeks because that's understandable. Like, okay, we're still waiting. We said it last week. If Robert Woods isn't doing anything against the freaking Arizona Cardinals in a game that should have been a shootout, for the record,
Yep.
that's the time. Like after 4 weeks, that's the time where you're like, okay, if you're gonna give any guy a shot, it's one more week. That's it. That's totally it. Josh, thank you for responding to Jameez there. Yes, go get Christian McCaffrey. Not even a question. Boss Man Fat, what's up, dude? Haven't seen you in a couple weeks. Best waiver ad, Visca, Trey Lance, Ryan Tannehill. He has Dak Prescott, so we'll take the 2 quarterbacks off the list. So it's Laviska Shenault or Jamison Crowder, and I think it's Laviska Shenault.
Yeah, Visca, I'm shocked. Crowder and Lance both appear on my waiver wire list. I'm super anti Ryan Tannehill, so he won't be on many lists that I make. But that's because Visca's not available in 50% or more of leagues. And so if he's out there for you with the injury to Chark, you got to get him.
Yeah. He has another question on top of that. Monty went down on me. Do we trust Melvin Gordon to be a starter? He has JT as his other starter with Nyheim Hines as a backup. Should he try and trade for someone?
I know Gordon's banged up.
Yeah.
I think you can still trust him. I think he'll probably power through, but even if he doesn't, hopefully it's only a 1 week thing.
You definitely do not want to start JT and Hines right now, though. I think
no.
you do need to make a move for a running back because you're talking. Josh actually spoke some sense to me this morning with my own personal Monty issues. There's no guarantee Monty comes back A, as productive, or B, to a team that is going to run him into the ground if they've continued to lose. So,
go try and get somebody, while it's early, maybe a guy that's on a downturn right now that some people want to get rid of. And Aaron, all of us are confused as well. Why are people still down on James Robinson? He's proven the last 2 weeks, like the first 2 weeks, completely understandable. Last 2 weeks, butt clencher Urban Meyer has shown that he's actually going to play him in the games. Thanks for laughing, Josh.
I still can't get over that viral video, dude.
He still thinks he's in college. Like, he still thinks he's in college. Because you want to know what happened? You want to know what would have happened at Ohio State? That video would have never seen the light of day.
Nope.
That video would have never seen
And
the
if
light
they
of
did,
day.
they would have just done this. Go
Yep.
win us a national championship. That's it.
Yep, that's and if I'm Shad Khan, I would have used that as the excuse to fire him. Are you kidding me?
And the fact that he didn't do that tells me that Shad doesn't care the way
No,
everybody
he doesn't.
else cares. So.
No. Thanks, Jamise. I appreciate the laugh, dude. I appreciate the laugh. I didn't really know what to call him. Yeah, butt clencher. But yeah, Urban's just.
I'm a person who's done a 180, so I am also confused because I was as down as anybody could get on J-Rob. I was so much worse after 2 weeks. Then you watched him play when they gave him the ball. He's
so
a running
good.
back. Like, I'm sorry. I doubted him. I doubted him for a lot of last year because of 85% carries. I thought it was volume. The kid is a damn good running back. And so as long as that team, now you really have to start worrying about motivation. So maybe people are more afraid of the Jaguars than James Robinson because there's questions of the team's entire motivation at this point, and that could hurt players. But then again, a lot of these guys might be auditioning for their next job, so they don't want to go out there and look like shit either. So
yeah, I think he's RB9 in half PPR right now.
Aaron just said he started him the last 2 weeks, got an offer for Kamara, but he doesn't know. So are you getting Alvin Kamara in this trade, or are you getting James Robinson in this trade?
This is going to sound really bad. I think I would rather have James Robinson right now.
I mean, there's someone stealing Alvin Kamara's goal line carries. There's no one stealing James Robinson's goal line carries.
You're talking Taysom Hill. I was like, that Tony Jones dude is hurt, but you don't mean Tony Jones.
Yeah, no, I don't mean Tony. I mean
that's
the
my
guy,
mistake.
Like, he's not getting targeted. He's not scoring touchdowns. Like, what on earth
he had
are we
zero
doing
targets
with
last
Kamara?
week, right?
First
time ever.
Zero.
We made the assumption that this was going to be the same offense with a stronger arm quarterback, and we were very wrong. Very wrong.
Very wrong. Yeah, so he is getting Kamara, and that's the thing is, I have Kamara and J-Rob in the two leagues I have Alvin Kamara in, so I don't have this dilemma. But Josh,
so do I. Oh my god.
Yeah, that's a great. Well, I go heavy on running back all the time.
Yeah.
Like I played JT, Austin Eckler, and James Robinson this past week.
Yeah,
I think combined for like 80 points.
I have J-Rob in 2 leagues, and I believe I have Kamara in both those leagues to go with him. So that's very strange.
I mean, Josh, you brought it up. We just talked about Hunter Renfrow versus the name value guy Robert Woods.
It's the same thing with Kamara.
It is weird because Alvin Kamara has still technically been productive. Because James Robinson has had 2 bad weeks. He's had 2 good weeks. Same thing with Alvin Kamara. 2 bad weeks, 2 good weeks. Yes, it is weird to say that I, too, would probably lean James Robinson.
I'll be the contrarian. I would take Kamara in this trade. I just you're paying for the upside at that point, and you're not paying much. I completely get not doing it. 100% understand. But I'll buy the name, which I know is not the way to play fantasy football, but I'll do it. So
no, it's totally fair.
James Robinson has more targets and receptions than Alvin Kamara.
That's crazy. But Aaron said if he can trade JT and maybe a Devonta Smith or Michael Pittman for Kamara and Henderson. No, I mean, if someone wants to bite on JT for Alvin Kamara, sure. But
I see. I'm the other way, and that's just me being in love. I'm not trading JT for Alvin Kamara.
Again, I love Jonathan Taylor.
I question how much, like, we've talked all the time, like, how efficient Kamara can be and has been throughout his career. Like, yeah, let's give the guy more carries. He's averaging, I think, 19 and a half carries a game right now. He has 78 carries in 4 games and 14 targets in those 4 games.
It's
a complete 180 of what we've seen from Kamara. But he's not even averaging 4 yards a carry right now.
I have said this to the end of time because people like when Kamara was hyped and CMC was hyped, they said It was Alvin Kamara 1A, CMC 1A, Alvin Kamara 1B. And I said, no, it is CMC 1, Alvin Kamara way down here at like 3. Because Alvin Kamara is not a running back.
Yeah, they just wanted them to be the same. But
yeah, they wanted them to be the same. Christian McCaffrey is a running back. Dalvin Cook is a running back. Alvin Kamara
is a weapon.
Cordell Patterson's not a running back. He's a weapon. And that's the thing is, do they line up in the backfield? Sure. But where does Cordell Patterson make his money? Receiving. Where does Alvin Kamara make his money? Like, why is he getting paid so much? It's not because he can run over people. It's because he makes people miss in the open field because of his ability as a receiver and scores touchdowns. Exactly. He's not making money off his running back ability. He's making money off of his running ability in the open field. That is two very different things. So just remember that. All right, let's jump into these 3 downs here. Josh, Allen Robinson, he's done. Darnell Mooney is the favorite of Justin Fields very clearly right now.
Very clearly.
We already talked about Nick Sirianni, the moron that is the Eagles head coach. Why do you hate Miles Sanders in all caps? And you said Baker Mayfield. You said, the Browns won, but Baker did not look good. And I do want to bring up a tweet from Ryan where he said the Browns offensive line on every 4th down was just an open door. Yes. I mean, it's like the first 4th down play that they ran again, Danielle Hunter was on Mayfield's ass. Like, why? Why? It makes no sense. Like, Jedrick Wills has not looked good. What happened?
No, he's really regressed. But it still baffles me, the disconnect between OBJ and Baker Mayfield.
They're not good for each other.
At all. Like, they have no chemistry whatsoever. Like, you see all the time, like Devontae Adams, he knows where he needs to go when Rodgers is scrambling. OBJ has no clue what to do in the open field when Mayfield is trying to buy time. And it's baffling to me. I don't understand.
And then he gets mad because Baker doesn't know what to do either.
Yeah.
So.
Yep. Ryan, you have CeeDee Lamb. He only had 2 catches. Myles Gaskin didn't have a good week. And number 3 is blank. So.
Oh my goodness! I put it in my own show notes. It's Juju Smith-Schuster.
Juju?
Yeah, I understand Ben sucks, but you've had DJ and Chase Claypool out in each of the last 2 weeks. He's had a total of 5 catches for 36 yards with them being a man down. He's only catching 2 catches out of 8 targets. That's not the possession guy we thought he was going to be. It's just an utter train wreck at this point. So
almost like someone said after the 2020 season that he should just retire and become a TikTok star like he really wants to be.
Yeah.
Really
I wouldn't be shocked if Pittsburgh continues to lose. Juju might be dealt before the deadline.
100%. Why wouldn't he be? I have Tom Brady. Really? No touchdowns? Really?
Yeah, he didn't look as good as so many of us thought he would.
I was gonna say, right? Like, I can get over maybe the no touchdowns, but if he throws for like 400 yards, he looked awful in that game.
Yeah,
Mac Jones looked like the better quarterback.
Oh my God, it was amazing.
So much better.
It was amazing. And the thing that pissed me off is that it came down to a missed 56-yard field goal in the rain off the left upright. Like that pissed me off. Is that's what it came down to. Like, if Folk made that and Brady had the opportunity to drive his team down, I think that would have been awesome. Win or lose in that situation as a Patriots fan, that would have been awesome to see. The fact, too, that was a beautiful kick from Nick Folk. Like, that was good from 60 probably, in the rain, too. So it's, it was disheartening to see that. But Brady looked awful. Brady did not look good in that game. I think the emotions very much got to him, especially early in the game. Like, that first pass to Mike Evans that sailed over his head and should have been intercepted. Not a good pass. Robert Woods, he's done. You can bookend him regardless. Moment he has a good game, sell him for the cheapest asset you can get. And I have Mike Williams. He's back.
Oh, come on.
I'm kidding. No, I'm kidding.
What's funny is I don't like him this week either.
Yeah, he's one of my fades too. The Cleveland pass defense is interesting. I'm curious to see how they play, because I know, Joe, you're down on Jared Cook this week. I actually think the tight ends will do better than the wide receivers this week. They do play a lot of zone, so I'm going to be very interested to see. Like, I think Keenan Allen will be fine, but I don't know how well Mike Williams is going to work in a zone.
Yeah.
Mike
Base
Williams
defense.
is better in a man-to-man because he's just
Exactly,
he's a
he's able
size
to use his
mismatch
size.
for everybody.
Yeah.
Keenan Allen can play wherever because Keenan Allen's a size mismatch, a better route runner than you.
Yep.
He's shiftier than you. He's
Although
faster
Mike
than
Williams on that deep pass that Herbert missed him
Yeah.
absolutely shook Damon Arnett out of his shoes. That was beautiful.
Williams
I was
is
so
looking
mad that Herbert
great
missed him.
on the field.
Yeah.
Now you just gotta hope he stays healthy. So
I will say, for the record, Mike Williams is a good route runner.
yeah,
But he's not going to break a zone like Keenan Allen will.
Oh no.
He's going to break man-to-man because he runs a 4.3 and he's 6'4". Like he should.
Greedy Williams has played really well this year so far.
He has, yeah. All right, let's get to these couple questions before we get into our upside downsides here. From Drew, should he trade away Joe Mixon and Brandon Cooks for Darrell Henderson and Deandre Hopkins? I would take the. I feel like it's
very
pretty
Take
even.
D-Hop here.
yep.
Yeah.
I'm very much in on the D Hop train, so that D Hop is what swings it for me.
Yeah,
I think you're seeing Hopkins pop up in a lot of trades because of what we just talked about.
Yeah,
He hasn't really been that target monster that he was last year with Arizona so far. So.
I love questions like this because it tells me who I should go make trade for in all my leagues. Where
Except you probably have DeAndre Hopkins.
I have
everywhere.
Hopkins in so many leagues.
Yeah, there you go. From Carrington, he's got CMC, Monty, Hubbard, and Devin Singletary. Do I need to trade for another running back or hope for a miracle? He's 4-0. I mean, I don't think you have to trade for another running back. Like,
It wouldn't hurt.
I mean, it wouldn't hurt, but you're 4-0.
Yeah, I was gonna say I wouldn't give up a lot. Singletary they're literally splitting touches down the middle in Buffalo, which is going to
He's
give
just
him
not scoring.
it's going to give him a decent floor every week. CMC will hopefully be back this week, but you have the direct replacement, and then hopefully you have him moving forward, CMC, and then you get Monty back in a month. Even if you drop 2 of these next games, you're still 6-2. Hopefully, getting Monty back and everything looks a lot better
4-2
at that point. So,
Yeah, but it's one of those things too, because he does mention it is the Megalo Bowl, and I know Ryan, you're very familiar with this, having worked with the fantasy footballers. Tournament styles like this, like if you sit back and wait, sometimes it comes back to bite you.
I would say right now it's still your basic league,
there.
though. It's a lot like Scott Fish. It's still your basic league at this point. It's total points later, and that's why you're going to want Monty. So
Fair enough.
Yeah, I mean, and again, to me, you could play Singletary. Christian McCaffrey is going to make up for the points that Devin Singletary doesn't score.
yeah,
So
Now what happens if Singletary gets banged up?
well,
then you make a trade.
That's what I'm saying. Like it's sometimes it's easier to make that move before crisis hits, because when crisis hits, then you end up paying more because you're desperate.
Yeah.
You know what? You know what the real answer is? Is this a super flex league before I make this?
I know it's half PPR.
No,
I don't believe it's super
not
flex.
super flex.
Okay. You know what you do? Draft running backs early.
Well, you did.
Yeah, McCaffrey. I'm just saying. Again, you're talking to a guy again. I have Jonathan Taylor, Austin Eckler, James Robinson on my team. I do that because I know I can afford to wait and get DJ Moore in the 8th round. But again, I always tell people go running back heavy early because you're gonna run into these issues later. Whereas you can replace a Dionte Johnson 1 week because Hunter Renfrow might be on the waiver wire in smaller leagues, or a Jamison Crowder might be there who's coming off of injury and has to slide into a lineup. Like, you can do that. It's really hard to do that with running backs. So, because again, running backs are backups for reasons. Guys who are 4 and 5 on the depth chart, they're still being used in practice a lot. They're just not as good at, like, Tyler Johnson is number 4 on his team. Tyler Johnson is a good receiver.
Yeah, he's good.
So, like, but again, like, if Antonio Brown wasn't there, he'd be 3. If Godwin wasn't there, he'd be the 2. Like, 100%, Tyler Johnson would be a 2 on a lot of other teams. So there's a reason you can wait a little bit on receiver, because they tend to be deeper just on NFL rosters in general. All right, let's get into the upsides here. Josh was technically undefeated last week. He had a tie, so 3-0-1, 8-7-1 on the season.
I just want to point out my Marquez Valdez-Scantling call could have actually paid off, seeing as how Randall Cobb had 2 touchdowns.
Randall Cobb, baby. Woo! We'd love to see it. Josh, this week you have Kirky Bird at home against the Detroit Lions, Darrell Henderson in Seattle tomorrow night, Hollywood Brown at home against the Indianapolis Colts on Monday, and Hunter Henry in Houston. Ryan, you were 500 last week, 2-2. You're 6-10 on the season. You got McCorkle Jones in Houston, Michael Carter in Atlanta, which is technically in London.
Yep.
Hunter Renfrow at home against Chicago, and Mo Alley Cox in Baltimore. I was 3-1 last week, 9-7 on the season. I have Trevor Lawrence against Tennessee. If Zach Wilson can beat Tennessee like that and Trevor Lawrence can't, there's an issue. I have Damian Harris in Houston. Just rule of thumb here, we love the New England Patriots this week.
Yeah.
Love the New England Patriots this week.
For fantasy.
For fantasy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I do not love the New England Patriots any week.
We all love the New England Patriots. My wide receiver, James Prochet.
Oh.
And you guys call me a homer.
How's that a homer? He's a Raven.
I was just
hate
saying,
the
it's
Ravens.
so weird that
No.
Joe doesn't care about this team.
I get that. I'm saying, but he's sticking to his guns on his player. It's a homer pick as far as I'm concerned.
It's a homer pick who was a top 35 wide receiver last week and would have qualified as an upside
One
pick.
week. 1 week, Joe. 1 week.
The 1 week where he was actually given the snap percentage he deserves, and he shows up and does what he's supposed to do. Oh, and last time I checked, he has the least amount of drops on the team. So just real quick, his big thing coming out of college was his sideline ability and the fact that he didn't drop anything. Jonnu Smith is my tight end upside in Houston. We like both of the tight ends, Josh and I. Mine just the more athletic one, and the other one who's a red zone threat. That's really it. Patriots should have a good week this week in Houston. Downside, Josh, you were 2-2 last week, 9-7 on the season. You got Daniel Jones in Dallas, and Ryan's going to tell you why that's wrong on his stream of the week. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, as Jim Nantz likes to enunciate, Helaire, at home against Buffalo. Brandon Cooks.
Levy that does that.
What?
Or does Nance do it too?
Nance does it too. Clyde Edwards-Helaire. And Tony Romo just says, Helaire. Why does he have a job? Why does he have a job? Ugh. Brandon Cooks at home against the Patriots and Kyle Pitts in London at home against the Jets. Ryan, you were 2-2 last week, 9-7 on the season. You and Josh are just playing buddy-buddy down here.
Yeah.
You have Trey Lance in Arizona, Miles Sanders in Carolina, Mike Williams at home against the Cleveland Browns, and Max Williams at home against the San Francisco 49ers. I was 1-3 last week, 6-9-1 on the season. I have Matt Ryan at home in London against the New York Jets, Najee Harris at home against the Denver Broncos, Mike Evans at home against the Miami Dolphins, and Jared Cook at home against the Cleveland Browns.
Don't like these home guys this week.
Yeah, I didn't realize how many home guys I picked.
To be fair, Matt Ryan's not at home, though.
Yeah, Matt Ryan's not at home. But we talked about it earlier because, again, we said like a lot of people were so happy with that Najee performance a couple weeks ago. If Dionte Johnson's in the lineup, he is useless in the receiving game. So, and also Denver held Baltimore in check on the ground. If they can hold Baltimore in check, I'm fairly positive. Yeah, yep. I'm fairly positive they can hold Najee Harris in check on the ground.
And as you brought up earlier, his passing upside goes away with Dionte Johnson. So if he's not able to get it done on the ground or catch any balls, you're looking at 6 fantasy points. So.
Yeah. But I feel like that's an easy slide into the stream of the week because, Josh, you have Daniel Jones as a downside and Ryan has him as his stream of the week. So I guess let's start with the negatives first. Josh, why don't you like Daniel Jones this week after I think what was almost a career performance last week in New Orleans?
Yeah, for me, it's a lot of history plays into this. I know that Dallas is, given up the third most to quarterbacks, but they also lead the league in interceptions. Guess who throws a ton of interceptions over his career? Daniel Jones. Turns over the ball a ton. He's been better with the football this year. That's great. Dallas also brings the pressure. They have, according to Pro Football Reference, 42 pressures, the 11th most among defenses this year. There's a chance that Andrew Thomas may be out this week. He's banged up, not playing at 100%. He's actually been their best pass blocker on that line, which has slightly improved, but still not great this year. And Daniel Jones has never, ever topped 230 passing yards against the Dallas Cowboys in his career. So I really don't care how many yards he threw for against the Saints. So there's that.
All right, Ryan.
I just focus on the fantasy side of things, and what you're looking for, especially if you're streaming a quarterback, is basically 20 plus fantasy points. Jones has scored 23 plus in 3 or 4 games this year. He's had at least 27 rushing yards in every game this season. Dallas, as Josh mentioned, is giving up the 3rd most to quarterbacks, but they've also allowed 35 rushing yards in each of their last 2 games. Not to mention, and Josh and I had a small discussion about this, we saw what Sam Darnold did. I'm not expecting Daniel Jones to score 2 rushing touchdowns, but 1 is not implausible, and that kind of makes up for any turnovers that are going to be there. The rushing yards alone make up for any turnovers that are going to be there. I agree. I'm hoping for more passing yards than what he's done in the past, but I also think he's playing a little bit better than what he's done in the past, hence 400 yards last week.
Yeah, but he only has, 2 touchdown passes or more, like twice in the last 9-10 games that he's played. And that, to me, that's the difference, because we saw Sam Darnold. He threw for over 300. He had the 2 passing touchdowns. That's not something that Daniel Jones does often. And that's a worry for me. So unless he's piling up 80 or 90 rushing yards and a touchdown, that's where the floor comes in. And I don't, he could very easily go that high, but I think you're probably more realistically getting 40.
Sure.
Which I mean, still great. I don't
know. I don't really know where I stand on this, because Daniel Jones is just awful at his job.
I mean, he's QB9 so far in the year. So
yeah, sure. He's awful at his job, though. In real life, he's awful at his job. The New Orleans is either the 2021 Super Bowl winners or the 2021 worst record in the NFL team. There is no in between on how this team is playing right now. Sean Payton has no control over anything right now. So you don't know what you're going to get, and clearly last week they got a terrible defense. The Giants got a terrible defense to play against, and Daniel Jones capitalized. Week 1, Aaron Rodgers got a great defense and couldn't do anything about it. So you don't really know, so this is a tough game to gauge off of. Sam Darnold was still productive in his game against
garbage time.
Well, he had 2 touchdowns at garbage time, but he also had 2 legit rushing touchdowns. Those were legit rushing touchdowns. So in the end, he ends up with 4 touchdowns, which is a great day for any quarterback. But again, do the Giants go into garbage time against this team is a real question, because Dallas will smoke you on the scoreboard. I don't think the Giants defense is good enough to hold back the Dallas Cowboys.
And that's kind of what I'm looking at in the game as well. And Dallas's rush defense has been so damn good. It's real. They're going to be forced. There were a lot of games previously where Jones was able to just give the ball to Saquon. That's not going to be a thing. So
yeah. I don't realize. I mean, if you need a quarterback, I don't think Daniel Jones is a bad start, because again, in theory, on paper, the Dallas defense still sucks. On paper, the Dallas secondary still sucks. They're not great.
Yeah.
Outside of Trayvon Diggs, who I believe is questionable this week as well. So if Trayvon Diggs doesn't play, that's a huge loss.
Oh, yeah. If Trayvon Diggs doesn't play, I will at 1,000% admit defeat on this.
Yeah. If Trayvon Diggs doesn't play, Daniel Jones will have another great day. Because Dallas
he will set career highs against this defense.
Dallas doesn't have a pass rush still. They got rid of Jalen Smith, who was their fastest linebacker. Micah Parsons is coming off the edge, but D-Law's not there. They don't have a pass rush, so it's tough. Ryan, so that's your stream of the week there at quarterback. Real quick, your tight end is Cameron Brate. Rob Gronkowski's not in. Mo Alley Cox scored 2 touchdowns last week against Miami, or was it just 1? He was targeted 2. He was targeted heavily in the red zone
played
as well.
70% of the snaps, which is basically what we saw out of Brady and Gronk's absence last week. I think you could see a rinse and repeat.
Yeah. Defense, you have the Cardinals against San Francisco. I mean, you already put Trey Lance as your downside.
Yeah, the main thing for me is I think Arizona is going to be ready for Trey Lance, which Seattle was not in the second half of last week. I think it's going to be – he's not going to be able to rely on his rushing upside to surprise Arizona as he would against maybe some other teams.
Who better to prepare you for a running quarterback than Kyler Murray?
Yep, and Arizona, while their defense – Joe, you've kind of hit on this about a couple of other teams. While Arizona's defense in real life not good. For fantasy, because they put teams in such awkward situations on offense, for fantasy, they've scored 5+ fantasy points in 3 of 4 games, and they've actually dropped a 16 and a 20 already this season.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think Arizona's defense, their front is solid on paper, but I still think their secondary is suspect outside of Budda Baker. I happily started them against the Jacksonville Jaguars, and they went off that week.
Yep.
I believe that was their 20-point week. So they can do it against teams, and I think San Francisco is one of those teams. My kicker of the week, I just put Graham Gano. I don't know, dude. He's indoors. Like, what the hell are kickers anymore? What the hell are kickers anymore? Literally, just listen to Linda. Like, that's what you should listen to, because she's way more in tune with any kicker.
And thanks to my advice, she's now pinning her kicker rankings on her Twitter profile. So
I absolutely love
that's
that.
at Lindellians for our new listeners. Terrific Twitter follower and
Yes,
the greatest kicker analyst in all of fantasy football.
very true. All right, JAC. Should you start Cordero Patterson at home in London against the Jets?
You don't even need to finish that. Yes, at this point, I'm treating Cordero Patterson as a must start until he gives me a reason not to start.
And Chris Carson with a neck injury. Your biggest worry is that he does play. You start him, he gets a stinger, and now you have a 0. Especially if that stinger leads to a fumble, and now you have a -2. So
yeah, I will say I do think Mike Davis will have a good game this week because he's the one that's actually running the football more, and again, they still utilize Patterson more as a wide receiver in some of these packages than an actual running back.
I'm going to caution you one thing on Mike Davis, though. Wayne Gallman got involved already in week 1 back last week. So,
yeah. So, I mean, let's just pose this question. If Chris Carson was fully healthy, didn't have to worry about anyone backing him up, I can guarantee you he doesn't fumble. Chris Carson or Cordero Patterson? I would still start Cordero Patterson.
Yeah, I can't bench Cordero Patterson right now.
And that's the JAC. You're not benching Cordero Patterson right now. Yeah. He is
again. It's one of those, like, he's the hot shot that's come out the first 4 weeks, RB2 on the season. Chris Carson, we all know what he's capable of doing, what he's done in the past, but he hasn't done it. We're grasping straws at name value.
I was just about to bring that up again. We've had like 3 questions. It's either name value or the dude that's actually produced. Yeah. The dude that's actually produced, unless literally that name value matchup is out of this world, which for Cordero Patterson, the name value matchup, backwards. Cordero Patterson, who's the guy that's proven it, actually has the better matchup than the guy who has the name
that's
value.
The thing is, this isn't a great matchup for Carson to begin with.
No.
And do you really want a guy? Let's just call it what it is. Do you want a guy with a neck injury going up against Aaron Donald?
Well, hey, I mean, if Alex Smith can survive, 2.5 years of a broken leg against Aaron Donald, all right. Let's head into our thriving on props. You guys sucked last week. You both lost.
Oof.
Well, to be fair, mine was due to injury.
Who did you have again?
Because I had Mixon.
Okay, yeah.
And honestly, I don't even think he would have hit that because he was at 67 yards total, I believe, before that last drive. So he still would have needed like 28 or 29 yards, and I don't think he would have gotten it. So
mine was due to Marvin Jones continuing to let me down every time I decided to bet on him. So
it was funny. I remember when I put Marvin Jones my downside last week, and that was really the only one I was iffy about. That was my only win last week on my downside with Marvin Jones. But this week, obviously Thursday night, tomorrow night, Seahawks Rams. Josh, you have Russell Wilson under 268.5 passing yards. And for those that joined late, Josh brought up that Wilson has only topped 269 yards against the Rams just once, and that was before they'd actually moved to Los Angeles. So that was a while ago, 6 years. Ryan, you have Darrell Henderson over 60.5 rushing yards. Both of these previous ones are worth 100 points.
Yep.
I went on the riskier
side. You swung big
side.
On yours.
Yeah, I went the riskier side on this one. And I looked just to check. I'm like, how many yards has Van Jefferson had in each game? He's had 48 or more in every game outside
betting
of week
on
2.
Van Jefferson is a good bet right now.
Yeah. And literally, all I need, one big play. That's it. That's all you need out of Van Jefferson. And it's very clearly they want to use him in big play situations. So I have Van Jefferson over 48.5 receiving yards, and I believe this is our biggest swing we've had on the Thrive props so far this year.
Oh, yeah. Most of them we tend to keep as the kind of the coin flip
even
ones
or the
for
105,
safe bets,
110s. This is 125 points. So Thrive is betting hard against Van Jefferson.
They're
he's
daring you to take the over on this.
Yeah, they're very much daring you to take the over on this. And again, if you haven't downloaded Thrive, it's Thrive Fantasy. You can sign up using the code CLUB. They'll match your deposit. You match your first deposit up to $100. So basically, you deposit $100. You now have $200 in your account when you go to check it again because they just completely matched it.
It's immediate match.
Yep, immediate match. So download that, Thrive Fantasy. Use the code CLUB when you sign up, and just they'll match your deposit up to $100, which is awesome. Great app. We love it. And you can also do house props as well. So you can actually combine different props that they have. And like if you combine 3 props together, you bet $5 on it, you can win $31. It's basically
that's what I was gonna say. We are actually gonna switch up the format of my short Thrive video that I put up every week, and I am going to focus on their prop lobby, which is a great way of explaining it, Joe, is that you can mix and match different props, and they're actually a little different than the ones they put out for the main slate as well. And you can do 2 to 4, and if you hit on 4, it's 11 times your money. So
yeah, it's basically like parlays,
which someone might have done 3 different times last week. So
Did you really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Turned
yeah, that's literally why he texted me. He's like, so I think we're gonna switch up the video now.
Wow, that's impressive.
Turned 15 into 165. So
that is
it was a fun week.
Impressive. That's impressive.
That's good advertising, right?
Yeah, very, very good advertising. Dang, I forgot. Oh, yeah. It's also too if you're into like baseball or golf.
Yeah, that's the other thing. Is if you're into esports,
yeah, they have CS:GO and League of Legends on there. If you bet Garrett Cole under 2 innings pitched last night, you would have won. So I feel like we should end on this, and we'll end on.
Hang on, we got one more question here.
I know. I say, all right, fine.
Then we can get on this.
Ready? Josh, I think your answer is Cordero Patterson because you're in a must-start situation with him. I mean,
hardest at Keenan Allen though.
I was going to say I'm really betting on Keenan Allen eating the Browns alive in the middle of that field.
I think he's going.
So here's the true answer. Bench Brandon Cooks.
Get both in your lineup.
And get the other 2 in your lineup.
Yeah. I find it hard to believe. I'm going to go on the assumption of 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, and a flex. I find it hard to believe you have 5 guys on your team better than Cordero Patterson and Keenan Allen. If you do, more
props
power
to you.
But
because so many of those top running backs have just fallen due to injury.
And what's great about Patterson is you can put him anywhere. He can be your RB2.
Depends on the site you're on.
Unless you're on MFL.
He is literally in our dynasty league. He is RB3 and wide receiver 5.
Yep.
What? That's ridiculous.
Says he had Gibson and Zeke.
Bench Zeke.
I was gonna say the other way. I was gonna say actually would sit
who's
Gibson.
Washington playing this week?
New Orleans.
Who has been very good against running backs.
Yep. Yeah. Bench Gibson.
And they're not using Gibson in the passing game the way they should be. So
yeah, there's our big swing. Bench Antonio Gibson, start Cordero Patterson.
Yep. Yeah. So let's So Thrive. Thrive does have baseball, basketball when basketball starts up, esports, all that stuff. I mean, if you bet heavy against the New York Yankees last night, you probably had a great night of betting. Josh, I know you watched the game.
I was actually working, so I was watching it in and out. Yeah.
Okay, so you didn't see.
Because I work at a restaurant that has TV, so we had it on. But
I mean,
having to deal with customers too. So
Garrett Cole looked.
Oh, I was literally screaming in the restaurant.
Awful.
I was not happy.
And
and that's the thing. I wasn't even as mad at Garrett Cole. Like, he sucks in Fenway. He has
terrible.
But our offense, like, we got nothing out of the bottom of our order. 5 through 9 hitters had 1 hit the entire game.
Wasn't the one hit a home run?
No.
Who was the hit?
I don't think so.
I thought the 1 hit was a home run. Oh no, because Stanton and then Rizzo, so it was 1 and 3 got the home runs. Yeah, I mean, Stanton thinking he hit a home run and it was only like 3/4 of the way up the monster.
Didn't he hit 2 like off the top of the green monster?
So 1 ended up being a single because it was off the top of the monster. The second one was that
was the one that Judge got thrown out at home on.
Was a piss missile, 400 feet. It was a home run.
That would have went out anywhere.
It was a home run
so
in 11
mad.
of the 11 of 30 MLB ballparks. They tracked it. 11 of 30 MLB ballparks. It would have been a home run. He hit a rocket off the Green Monster. But the issue is he hit a rocket on a short porch, and it came into the hands of Kike Hernandez, Xander Bogaerts, and Kevin Plawecki. Arguably the best three combination to get an outfield assist in the MLB. They said something. The Red Sox had 43 outfield assists the entire season. It was far and away the most of any team. And Judge was out by a mile, too. It was not even close.
I was kind of upset that he went, but then I'm looking at, who's back end of the order. I'm like, well, that's why he went, because nobody was getting him home anyway.
Yeah.
And I mean,
because Gallo's all or nothing.
Yeah. It didn't start well when Bogaerts, you want to talk about fucking rockets, 427 feet to dead center field, and then Kyle Schwarber hit a 95-mile-an-hour fastball up and high where Garrett Cole kept missing, and Schwarber was like, I'll take that.
Well, and that's the thing with Cole. He always gives up home runs early. Like, typically when he gives up the home runs, it's early.
His high fastball sucked. But if you want to bet tonight, you can download Thrive real quickly in, 7 minutes from now? You have the NL wild card, first pitch, Dodgers, Cardinals.
So.
You want to talk about probably the hottest team in sports? The Cardinals rattled off 17 straight to secure a wild card spot. So if you feel, and the Dodgers are projected to actually win the World Series. So if you want to talk about two teams that could be, you could make a lot of money on the Cardinals if you bet the Cardinals and they win tonight. Because far and away, the Dodgers are the favorite. It's not even close. The Dodgers are the favorite. So if you want to make some money, you might be able to make some money on some Thrive house props tonight on the Arizona Cardinals. I'm sorry, not the Arizona Cardinals, the St. Louis Cardinals. I apologize.
And while we're talking about it, I'm just going to throw in, I know nothing about baseball, but me and Josh were having a conversation. Finding the prop lobby on the app is not the easiest thing in the world. It is a small black box.
Oh, the moment you mentioned to me, I'm like, all you got to do is look in the top left corner. I'm like, how did I miss this?
Yeah, it says house props. I wondered what it was one day, and I clicked on it, and I'm like, ooh, fun.
It says prop lobby on Android, so I don't know if it's different elsewhere.
I think it says house props on iOS.
Okay.
Whatever it is, it's the button in the top left corner on the homepage.
Yes, but it switches you to an entirely different interface to do things differently. So.
Correct. Yep. All right. That's week 4 for you, and that's week 5 ahead for you. All right. Tomorrow night at 6. Week 5 of DFS and Chill, Ryan and Kira. This week's guest, we're cooking up some pasta with Alfredo Brown, host of the Pretend GM podcast.
Yes.
So you guys will have him on. Right now as well, happening 4th in hold on, is this correct, Josh?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah, I talked with Matt with Dynasty Vipers. They're actually moving their show to Tuesday nights now.
Oh, very nice.
But Jorge and them actually do a 2-hour show.
They do 2 shows.
The second hour
they
is
do
all about IDP. So
correct.
Yeah. So oh my god, what was I about to say? Tonight, 4th and Frames is happening right now with our friends Fantasy and Frames at 8 p.m. So you can head over there right now. And as you heard, Dynasty Vipers moving their show to Tuesday night. So,
but you can still go to their YouTube page and obviously watch last night's show. So.
Yes, of course. Also, Saturday starts at a different day. We have a full team this week. Josh is back. We don't know who our guest is, so stay tuned for
I have
that.
a good idea. I'm just waiting for confirmation.
Cool. Is it someone we discussed last week that you told Faith about?
Yes.
Cool. Very excited.
She would be a first-time guest on the show.
Oh, well, you gave away the gender right there, so they really have...
Okay.
ruined.
Yeah, ruined.
Now you've cut half of fantasy football Twitter in half.
I mean...
I'm okay with it.
I mean...
we support women in fantasy football.
We do. Yeah, we do support women in fantasy football, 100%. It's just they now have, we weeded out 90% of the roster they could have guessed.
So now they're going to be able to guess who it is. That's the real issue.
That's the real issue. We wanted to keep it a secret, and it's a good secret too if this does come to fruition and schedules match up. But one last thing too, JAC had it in here. He's been offered a few trades for Cordell Patterson. First is DeAndre Hopkins for Cordell Patterson and Amari Cooper. Second is Jonathan Taylor for Cordell Patterson and Amari Cooper. You're giving away Patterson and an asset for these guys. No. They should be giving you.
That's literally, my brain kept wanting to flip it to
D-Hop and Cordell Patterson for Amari Cooper.
Or something like that. Yeah. And I was like, no.
You
again, people are trying to get these assets because they're selling you the name value of players that haven't popped yet.
Yep.
That's what they're trying to do.
And Cooper's going to be fine.
Yeah,
agreed.
you keep Cordero Patterson for that. Yeah, that is a terrible, two terrible offers for the record.
Don't let them take advantage of you.
No. You keep Cordero Patterson and Amari Cooper, my friend.
And real quick, Joe, before you head on, a lot of new names in the chat today, so thank you. Hit subscribe. You will win yourself a chance to win some signed memorabilia. I have a whole freaking closet full of stuff up there. When we hit 250 subscribers, giving away something new again. So
we're at 223 right now, so we're
awesome.
What? That's 27 away from our next giveaway. So, and also here's another one: Najee for Cordero Patterson, Amari Cooper. Why is this guy, dude? All right, whoever this person is, you should slap him across the face. I don't know if you can see this person. Like, I don't know if this is like someone you work with. I don't know what league you're in. If this is your home league, if this is a man, I'd kick him right in the nuts, because this is just ridiculous. He's trying to simply take advantage of you.
Yeah, the issue is, I understand that you're trying to sell high on Cordero Patterson and Cooper, but you're only getting one asset back who's not outperforming either one of those assets. So.
If you wanted to sell for a bigger asset, like, totally fine. Like,
Cordero Patterson is a guy you want to throw out in Christian McCaffrey trades right now.
Yes.
Because that manager needs running backs, and he probably needs wide receiver help. So
trade Cooper and Patterson for Christian McCaffrey. That's how you sell high on Patterson.
That is for real. If you can pull that off, that's for real.
Or Derrick Henry at this point.
I mean, Derrick Henry only plays 60% of the snaps, but he gets
as much as I love D-Hop
touches.
and Jonathan Taylor, don't buy a current non-working asset. It's not worth it. So
correct. All right. Well, if that's everything for Josh, for Ryan, and myself, this has been No Punt Intended. You can follow Club Fantasy on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Club Fantasy FFL. The URL is clubfantasyffl.com. Always remember, defense wins championships, offense wins fantasy football. Ryan and Kira will see you tomorrow night at 6 p.m. Eastern, and we all will see you Saturday morning at 11 a.m. Eastern for Start Sit. Different day.
What just happened? I think Joe just...
Goodbye.